This is what happened when I stopped throwing away used coffee grounds and rice water, and turned them into a free homemade organic fertilizer in just 3 days. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it, what the science actually says, and the mistakes that will wreck your soil if you get careless. And if you stay through to the end, I'll tell you exactly how this DIY fertilizer fits into a broader approach to sustainable gardening that costs you nothing. According to the National Coffee Association, 2/3 of American adults drink coffee every day, averaging about 3 cups each. All those spent grounds pile up fast. 6 million tons of used coffee grounds get produced globally every single year, and most of that ends up rotting in landfills, releasing methane, a greenhouse gas that traps 25 times more heat than carbon dioxide. Meanwhile, every time you rinse rice before cooking, that cloudy white water disappears down the drain. Both of these so-called wastes carry real nutrients your garden can put to work, and the best part is that this method costs you absolutely nothing. Coffee grounds come first, because there's a stubborn myth floating around that needs to die. You've probably heard that grounds are great for acid-loving plants like blueberries and azaleas. That's flat out wrong. Used coffee grounds, the ones that have already been brewed, sit near neutral on the pH scale, right around 6.5 to 6.8. Oregon State University Extension composted close to 200 tons of grounds and confirmed this. What happens during brewing is that the acids wash out into your cup, which means the leftover grounds carry almost none of that acidity. If you've been piling grounds around your blueberry bushes, hoping to drop your soil pH, elemental sulfur will do that job, not coffee. What coffee grounds actually deliver is nitrogen. Used grounds carry an NPK ratio of roughly 2.1, 0.3, 0.3, according to the North Carolina State University Extension Gardener Handbook. That's heavily weighted toward nitrogen, with very little phosphorus or potassium, which means they're not a complete fertilizer on their own. What they do well is improve soil structure, draw in earthworms, and feed beneficial microbes already living in your dirt. Tomatoes, roses, leafy greens, and brassicas, the heavy feeders, respond well to that kind of slow-release nitrogen boost. This is also why coffee grounds work well as a biostimulant in the broader sense, not delivering massive nutrient loads, but activating and supporting the biology already present in healthy soil. If any of this is clicking for you, take a second and hit the like button, then subscribe. Doing that helps this channel reach more gardeners who could use this information, and there's a lot more on the way. Rice water is where things take a turn. On its own, the water you collect from rinsing or soaking rice contains starch, traces of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and B vitamins. But compared to any commercial fertilizer, the nutrient content is low. Fermentation changes that equation. Researchers at University Putra Malaysia published a peer-reviewed study in the journal Agronomy in 2021, and what they found was that beneficial bacteria populations inside rice water peak right at 3 days of fermentation. 5 different genera showed up, including Bacillus and Enterobacter, all of them nitrogen-fixing and nutrient-solubilizing. Microbiologists classify organisms like these under a broader category called plant growth-promoting rhizobacteria, or PGPR, and they're some of the most studied beneficial microbes in soil science for good reason. The researchers even detected a natural root growth hormone called indole-3 acetic acid, or IAA. After that 3-day mark, bacterial populations begin dropping off because the starch runs out. 3 days isn't some number pulled from thin air. That's the scientifically documented sweet spot. A follow-up field study from the same team, published in the peer-reviewed journal Helion in 2023, put fermented rice water to the test on choy sum across 3 full planting cycles. Fermenting the water for 3 days bumped its nutrient levels anywhere from 7 to 56% higher. And here's what caught my attention. The strongest results came when they paired fermented rice water with just half the normal rate of mineral fertilizer. That half-dose combination actually outperformed full-strength commercial fertilizer for plant growth, nutrient uptake, and overall soil health. None of this is a recent invention either. Fermenting rice water traces back to Korean natural farming, a system Master Cho Han-kyu began developing in the 1960s, and his son Youngsang Cho later adapted those principles into a method called JADAM, which he founded in 1991. Fermented rice water serves as the first step in culturing lactic acid bacteria, the same beneficial microbes behind yogurt and sauerkraut. If you're familiar with bokashi composting, which also relies on fermenting organic material with beneficial microbes rather than traditional aerobic breakdown, you'll recognize the same underlying logic at work here. Asian farmers have relied on this approach for decades. Putting the two together is straightforward. Start with about 2 cups of used coffee grounds, spent only and never fresh, because fresh grounds retain enough caffeine to shut down seed germination. Steep those grounds in roughly 5 gallons of water. Separately, collect the cloudy water from rinsing your rice, making sure it's unsalted. Cover that rice water loosely with a cloth, and let it ferment for 3 days, kept out of direct sunlight. A slightly sour smell, similar to mild vinegar, tells you fermentation is working. White film on the surface is normal and harmless. Black, brown, or orange mold, or a rotten smell instead of a sour one, means you need to dump it and start fresh. Once those 3 days pass, combine your coffee water with the fermented rice water, dilute the mixture well, and drench your soil with it. I want to be upfront about one thing. The combination of these 2 specific ingredients hasn't gone through rigorous university-level testing, because the peer-reviewed science examined them separately. Each one brings something legitimate to your garden: slow-release nitrogen and organic matter from the coffee, and a living culture of beneficial microbes from the fermented rice water. Together they function as a mild biostimulant and soil conditioner. That's not a miracle product. That's not a replacement for balanced fertilizer. What it is, though, is free, it keeps waste out of landfills, and it feeds the biology in your soil, including the mycorrhizal fungal networks that connect plant roots to nutrients they couldn't access on their own. Before you go pouring this everywhere, there are warnings you need to hear. Oregon State University soil scientist Linda Brewer summed it up perfectly when she said that generally people are too enthusiastic about coffee grounds. Keep your application layer thinner than ½ inch and mix it with coarse mulch, because without that, the grounds pad down, repel water, and form a crust. For compost piles, coffee grounds should never exceed 20% of the total, and a good ratio is 3 parts leaves to 1 part grass clippings to 1 part grounds. That ratio matters because it controls your carbon to nitrogen ratio, the balance between carbon-rich browns and nitrogen-rich greens that determines how fast and cleanly your pile breaks down. Here's a detail most people miss. As microbes break down those grounds, they temporarily lock up nitrogen in the soil through a process called nitrogen immobilization. So you'll want to add composted manure or alfalfa meal alongside them to keep things balanced. Rice water needs restraint too. 1 application every week to every other week, always diluted. Pouring it on straight will harden your topsoil and invite fungus gnats. Think of this as a supplement, not a silver bullet. Pair it with proper feeding, and keep it away from seedlings, succulents, and cacti. $15 to $30 a bottle is what commercial organic liquid fertilizers typically run, and this method costs you nothing beyond 3 days of patience. You're practicing regenerative gardening in the simplest possible form, rescuing 2 things headed for the garbage and converting them into something your soil genuinely wants. Try it yourself, and when you see results, come back and tell me about it in the comments. If this video gave you something useful, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment telling me what you're growing this season. I'll see you in the next one.